Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of our double bill for International Men's Day today. The aim of this day is to celebrate male role models and to raise awareness of men's issues such as mental health. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my second role model of the week, Warren Ryan, founder of the Got This movement. Warren is such an uplifting person and has overcome feelings of depression and anxiety growing up as a foster child. His mum suffered with drug abuse issues, which unfortunately meant that Warren and his siblings were separated and taken into care at a very young age. However, as an adult, Warren decided to use his childhood traumas to fuel his personal development journey and help other people do the same. He is now a public speaker and shares his story globally. He has also implemented a teaching program for children to get them more excited about learning with a modern YouTube-themed twist. And he's now launching the Got This movement and inspiring people everywhere to set their own goals and be accountable collectively to making those goals happen. I'm so grateful to have met Warren and to have the opportunity to interview him on the podcast. Please be aware that some of the topics we discuss and the stories that he shares are quite sensitive and personal, so perhaps may be triggering for some listeners. However, I really do hope that you enjoy the episode and let me know if so. Thanks again for listening and see you soon. Hi Warren, welcome to A Cup of Positivity. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, Martha. I'm excited about being on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Did you bring your cup of tea with you?
I did. Do you know what? I opened my cupboard up. I was like, what mug should I use for your show? And then this here, let me show you.
Oh,
Hey, love. I'm all about the love. So
yeah.
I thought I'd pick that one.
That's nice. It's lovely. Did someone get that for you?
Do you know what? I think I got it when I moved in.
Yeah. It's cute. What about your cup of tea?
So I could lie and say it was this very sort of specialty from Egypt, but it's just your bog standard, I think, HP? Is it H? Not HP?
PG?
PG tips.
HP sauce.
I know. Do you know what? Yeah, PG, guys. And this is my mug, though.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I've got my mug, actually. I haven't used it for a while. I don't know if you can see it, but I got this at an event that was hosted by a children's charity. And they basically printed on the drawings that the children basically made for the mugs.
Yeah.
And it was a disabled children's charity. So this is specially handmade and unique.
Is that your favorite mug?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite, but it is one of my favorites because of that.
Yeah.
Really special. But yeah, also my teas. I've been gifted some teas from Twist Tea, which I'm like really excited about every episode now.
That's great.
Yeah, my tea today is called Banana Shake, and it's got like freeze-dried banana, sunflower petals. Like I've never in my life had this.
Like there's me with my PG tips, and there's you with your banana shake. I didn't even know you can get banana shake flavor. Me
neither. That's what I'm saying. Every time I do an episode, I'm like, oh my God, I've never heard of this flavor, but I'm excited. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's start with an intro, I think, because for anyone who doesn't know who you are, maybe just do a little intro and we'll go from there.
Okay, so my name is Warren. I'm 31 years old. I don't know where the time's gone, but I'm 31 years old, and I am an international speaker and business owner, and I'm passionate about making positive changes in this world with people and sharing life skills. And this all stemmed from my journey through mental health, going through depression when I was 20 years old, and that then set me on a self-discovery journey where it led me to America to work with children as I was coaching football in America. And I came across this speaker called Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
And like his story was near enough identical to my story, his upbringing. But there I was with that violin, being a victim and thinking, God, why me? He's on stage speaking to thousands of people, and he's standing in his power and he's sharing his story, like not from a place of being a victim, but saying like, this is where I started and this is how I've used my story to impact other people's lives. And in that moment, I had an epiphany, that light bulb moment where I realized that it was rather than asking why me, I changed the question to what for.
Okay.
And then I started to journal my life on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, people were like, Warren, you're talking about stuff that I'm keeping inside of me.
Mm.
And you've inspired me through your journey. And then from that, I decided that, look, I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to share not just the show reel, not just me on stage and all the positives, but I'm going to share everything, just where I come from. I grew up in foster care. And before foster care, my mum was addicted to drugs such as crack cocaine and heroin. So as a child, I saw things that a child shouldn't see.
Mm.
And I had to grow up way before my time. And going into foster care, the stigma behind it and the labels, I just wanted to be normal.
Yeah.
So I learned very fast on how to mirror and mask and how to fit in. So that's what I did, and I played football, and that was my dream. That was my ultimate dream of getting out of the situation that I was in. That's where I got my significance,
Mm-hmm.
playing football, and I made it as a professional football player at Bristol Rovers when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
But on the outside, it was like, yo, I'm this good footballer. But on the inside, there was so much shame and guilt. And I was almost living a lie because I was being what people wanted me to be.
Mm.
So going to America, and then I remember sharing my first ever video and just coming out and telling the world, like, I've had enough. I don't care what people think about me. And this is when I was going through depression. This is when I was at one of my lowest in my life. And I shared with the world my story. I lost friends over it. So my family didn't understand at the time as well. And I was like, but I'm sharing my story so I can help other people. I
Mm.
know, like in societies where you keep it behind closed doors, but I could no longer keep it behind closed doors. And I was like, if I've gone through all of this, then I'm going to make the most of it and use it in a positive way to help those people, children and adults that are going through it now.
Mm.
And so from that, I moved back from America to Bristol, and all my old like clubbing friends and football friends were like, what the hell's happened to Warren? He's some sort of preacher now. Like, what the hell? Like they were very close-minded. So I was like, look, I need to get out of this city. So I moved to London, and I had like £300 to my name.
Mm-hmm.
I actually put a tweet out. I was like, does anyone have a room in London? And this lady was like, yes, I've got a room. So I moved to London, and she was like, gave me a room. She made me food every day. I was like, wow, just
Wow.
the lady's amazing. And then when I was there, I went to schools. I started off at schools. I said, look, I've got a powering story, and I'd love to share it with your students. I think it'll be very beneficial for them.
Mm.
I haven't got a CV. I haven't spoken on any stages, and I'm willing to do it for free. But in my mind, I knew that it was going to reach people, and I was learning my craft as a speaker. And then from that, the school was like, well, I don't know what you said, but the kids want you back. Let me pay, let us pay for your travel. So then I remember being in London and like getting on a tube and thinking, free travel, loving it, right? And then from that, other schools heard about me, colleges heard about me, and then I started to get paid speaking gigs, and I started delivering paid workshops.
Mm.
And I was still working at the time as well, so I was doing a lot of like promotional work in London just to kind of pay rent and stuff.
Mm.
And then it got to a point where I was like, if I'm going to really make a difference, I need to be all in with this. And it was
Yeah.
scary because I was like, how the hell am I going to make enough money to be able to live and to pursue my dream?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I took the jump, and then I made a program called the 21-day mind and body program. And this was what I learned through NLP,
Mm-hmm.
programming, for people that don't know what NLP is, and CBT and psychology. And I just started studying about how my mind works, my beliefs, my habits, my identity. So I shared all of this, put it in a program. I actually recorded it on my iPhone. It took me about
Okay.
five hours to make. I made 3 audios a day,
Mm-hmm.
and then I let 10 people go on it for free. Then they give reviews, and then those testimonials then were like gold dust to me. And then people were like, we want to. So I started to sell these programs, and then because financial freedom for me was time. When I relate money to time, and then, yeah, so that then I generated £40,000 in my first month in business when I was
Wow.
scared. Like I was like, how am I going to make money? But I feel like when you make that jump and you go all in, you find a way. And then from that, I started to create my own events from 50 people in Camden to then 1,000 people in Paddington. And then I started to travel the world as a speaker. So I was doing speaking tours around the world. And yeah, so and fast forward to 10 years, I took a break. I took about a 2-year break and I started just to work with kids and kind of like I stopped kind of playing big and I came back in again because realized I wasn't filling my own cup up enough.
Hmm.
So now back with the I Got This campaign that I'm doing at the moment, that's the kind of the kickstart of me getting back into what I'm doing now. That was a long intro, but
Yeah, I feel like you've briefly touched on like all the questions that I'm going to ask you. So let's just like go back a step because we're
yeah.
obviously going to touch on everything you've said.
Mhm.
Um, so tell us a bit more about like your childhood. Like, what do you remember from your upbringing? Because I feel like it's really important for us to be transparent
Yes,
for our listeners who might be able to relate to that situation.
definitely. So I remember my mum was 17 years old when she gave birth to me.
Hmm.
So my mum was still learning the trade of being a mum.
Yeah.
And my mum had a very difficult relationship with her father, which then led her to attract the wrong men into her life.
Mm.
I would witness men abuse my mum, beat my mum up in front of me, and then seeing my mum go through depression. And then I just saw her self-sabotaging in front of my own eyes.
Mm.
It's crazy, like living in England, like poverty is real. Like, we had no electricity sometimes. So we'd have candles,
Yeah.
we'd eat wagon wheels or chocolate bars for dinner. I had no hot meals. And it was me, my younger brother, and my two younger sisters.
Okay.
Yeah. So um and then that just obviously spiraled and she got introduced to drugs. And then I remember like going to school and then coming home and finding like crack pipes behind the sofa and places. And then I remember realizing that crack cocaine, because a lot of my friends' parents passed away because of these drugs. So I knew how bad it was. So it was like a vicious cycle for myself where I was going home, breaking them. Because I was so young, I just thought like if I broke these pipes, my mum wouldn't do these drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as a kid, I was exposed to a lot of just violence, domestic abuse, drugs. And I think that like as scary as it was, I had no boundaries. So therefore I had freedom. I lived on this estate in Oxford called Blackbird Lease
Hmm.
and we literally had no boundaries. So I could stay out the whole night.
Mm.
From the age of 7 years old, I could do this. And yeah, I was a bit of a terror, I would say, when I was because I just had no parents in.
Yeah. And then at what age did you get put into foster care?
8 years old.
Wow. Okay. So were you just with one family the whole time or did you move around?
I moved around. So I went to 3 homes altogether. So the
Hmm.
first homes were temporary, but it was hard because there's 4 of us and no family could take 4.
Mm.
My sisters got split from us and they went to a home and then we went to a home and yeah, it was just scary as how leaving, not just leaving your mum, but leaving my sisters as well. I just remember being scared and just, but then thankful for having hot meals. I remember like enjoying that part of it,
Yeah.
but just the uncertainty of not knowing what the next day was going to bring.
Mm. And are you still in contact with your siblings?
Hmm.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's like the miracle. The miracle. When I was 13 years old, my mum got off drugs, went to rehab, and then
Hmm.
went to court and got all of us back together again.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in Bristol.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I like that she's like made a positive recovery. And so she's watching your journey now, I suppose.
Definitely, she's on her own spiritual journey now, which is
Yeah.
amazing. At first, she was like, "Warren, why are you telling people about my past?" Da, 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 da. And thought I was doing it to attack her, and I was like, "Mum, I love you, but this is my story as well."
Hmm.
if I don't share this story, it's going to consume me as well. So the beautiful thing is that one of my events, my mum spoke at my event.
Mm.
So I've seen a transition of my mum going like, why are you sharing our story, Warren? Um, I'm on a spiritual journey now as well. And she's helping people too now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And then, so you said you went to America. So was that like the turning point for you to make that a positive change for yourself, or was it before that?
Yeah, that's when I first came across self-development.
Mm.
I remember going to the GP and telling them that I had all of these symptoms.
Mm.
My heart was racing. I was I was kind of like getting out of touch of reality almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the doctors to kind of tell them kind of like my symptoms and fearing that it was going to be like a brain tumor or I was having heart issues or whatever. And then they said to me, Warren, no, you're experiencing anxiety and depression. And they wanted to prescribe me medication. And I remember just drugs is just a trigger thing for me. So I
Yeah.
despise drugs. So I just cried and I think I just prayed to God. And I was like, God, show me a way. If you can help me get out of this, I'll spend the rest of my life helping people. And this is the kind of the Disney or the miracle in this is that when I was at that moment, I get a phone call and there's this American guy on the phone and he's like, hey, Warren, you applied to work in America. And I remember not getting that job because I didn't have the right qualifications.
Mm. Okay.
So he said, someone's dropped out at the last minute.
Mm.
We need someone to get on board.
No way.
Yeah, he said, are you in? And I was like, without even thinking, I just looked up, I was like, oh my God, this is it. I said, yes. When you're leaving on Friday. And it was like the start of the week, he said, you're leaving on Friday. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow. So that's how America came about.
But then how did you end up at Tony Robbins' seminar?
So it wasn't at a seminar in America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically when I was in America, I think at that age, I was a bit like, my appearance meant a lot to me. So when I was in America, there's a lot of people, there are guys that have 8-packs and on the beach. And I'm thinking, look at, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep my t-shirt on. So I started to create a playlist and watch some video, like motivational sort of Eminem style, like lose yourself music tracks. And I came
Yeah.
across a motivational video. And this is the first time I kind of came across like self-development.
Mm.
It was actually Eric Thomas and Tony Robbins combined. Like there's 2 videos that I watched. And then I watched one of his videos and it was just like me too. And I was crying at the time and thinking, oh my gosh, this man is speaking my story and
Mm.
he's done something positive with it.
Yeah.
So that's how I came across Tony Robbins.
Okay. And then after that moment, like, how did you begin to take positive steps out of like a depressive state? And like, what did you do? Like, how do you physically get out of that state of mind?
So going to America, what I realized is that when we're depressed, it's in our subconscious. It's like it's buried in our subconscious. So going to America was a whole new environment. So my conscious mind was very active.
Mm.
So I was kind of almost distracted by my about having depression in the day, working with kids. The kids were like, oh my God, are you from England? And I'm like, do you know Harry Potter? Like me and Harry way back. But like I just received so much love and
Yeah.
appreciation. And so that kind of kept me positive in the day. And then I realized the first question I asked was what's emotion? Why do I feel depressed? Where does emotion come from? And then I started to study emotional intelligence.
Okay.
And that's where it kind of stemmed from. I started realizing how our emotions are created.
Mm-hmm.
Realize I have no idea about the mind. I don't know why do we feel the way we do, or where do our habits come from.
Yeah.
And I came across mentors such as Bob Proctor, and he speaks about paradigms in our beliefs and where they come from. And so I started to read a lot of books and audios, and I created in my bedroom this environment of post-it notes of affirmations.
Okay.
So I was overriding these negative beliefs, and then I was reparenting myself.
Mm.
I was healing that inner child within myself. And I knew that when we override existing beliefs. It's not through logic, it's through repetition. The brain works through repetition. So I knew the more I said it, and not just saying it like I love myself, but
Mm.
actually feeling those emotions like I love myself because I did something nice today. I love myself because I opened a door for not one, but five people today. I love myself because despite everything I've gone through, I've decided to go the other way. So I started to write down all of these reasons. And literally, it sounds crazy, but I had all of these post-it notes, a bit like how McDonald's would use billboards to market people to get. I did that. I did that brainwashing in a positive way in my own environment. So I
Mm.
was immersed into it.
Yeah. And then you talk about NLP and CBT. Maybe we should explain what they are first, just for people who don't know. And then like how did they help? How did both of those therapies help you?
Yeah. So with the NLP, the neuro linguistic programming, is that you know our beliefs, labels, and identities come from when we're young, when you're a child. So things that were said in school, things
Mm.
that your parents have said to you, society. So we've got all of these existing labels. I'm dyslexic. I've got
Mm.
ADHD. I'm skinny. I'm all of these. I ams. So the NLP helps with actually that's not who I am
Mm.
because I was someone before that, and in
Yeah.
fact you're not even who you like you're not you but you are like if that negative voice is in your mind or that self-sabotaging voice is in your mind, it's speaking English, so therefore we wasn't born speaking a language. So these languages are governing our life, so our internal story is playing out in front of us whether you like it or not,
Mm.
that people are bad and you go into toxic relationship after relationship, not like your story is attracting that that storyline in your life.
Mm.
So yeah, that is with like the NLP side of it is teaching you how to create new identities and beliefs and creating self-awareness so that a lot of people say I've tried everything. Well, no, you haven't
No,
tried it.
yeah.
You've tried four things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the power of NLP. That literally changed everything for me. I became the driver in my vehicle. Whereas before, I was in the back seat.
Mm.
Wherever life was, I was a victim to it. And I realized that for things to change, you got to change. But it's like, it's not something that you do every Wednesday. You have to. You have to immerse yourself into it. It has to be on your phone screensaver. You have to be listening to audios. You have to be around positive people. You have to be eating right. All of it plays a part with reprogramming the mind.
Yeah. And then what about your experience of CBT?
So do you know what? I touched briefly on the CBT side of things, but like a lot of the touching sort of thing. So when I have anxiety a lot, you know, just the tapping, and so even tapping underneath my eye, and thinking of like the positive, like different beliefs and stuff. So CBT, I kind of brushed along it, but the NLP is more sort of like my strong point.
Yeah. See, I'm the opposite because I've had CBT, but I've heard a lot about NLP, but I've never like gone to any of the courses or anything. But I feel like it just keeps coming up and people keep telling me about it. And it's on my list.
It's powerful. I feel like with learning NLP comes a lot of responsibility
Mm.
because you then have the knowledge to influence people. And then obviously you can influence them in a good or bad way. So I think there comes a lot of responsibility of NLP. But applying it to yourself, I feel like is crucial
Mm.
to
Yeah.
for example, life's gonna be like nothing in life is good or bad.
Hmm.
It's the meaning that we give it.
Yeah.
So one man's treasure is another man's rubbish.
Yeah.
When we understand that, then that's the concept of NLP.
Okay. Oh, I need to look into this. Like every time I have a guest on here, I just end up with a new list of things I need to learn.
It's good though, right? Look,
Yeah.
we're forever a student.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you brushed on your 21 day mind and body program, but what
Yes.
exactly is that and like how can people be involved?
Okay, so I'm going to be relaunching the program,
Yeah.
but how I created it was giving people um, a morning routine. So a lot of people wake up in the morning, they press snooze 5 times, they put
Mhm.
on, they hear about all of the COVID deaths, they hear about all of the muggings, they hear about all of the killings, and then they expect to have a positive day.
Yeah.
That's not going to work when you feed yourself that negativity. So the routine of waking up with gratitude. So you have a list on your bedroom wall, window, mirror of your gratitude list, and then you embody so you can't be grateful and down at the same time. It's
Mm.
impossible. So teaching people how to not practice gratitude in a way where it works, not just I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for so people just like saying it.
Yeah.
And then the why, I believe what gets us up every day is important. The why. Why are you doing this? Because sometimes we can get caught up with the small things in life, but when it boils down to it, life is about contribution. What impact have you made in people's lives? When you have a powerful emotional why,
Mm.
it's a pull rather than
Yeah.
a willpower. Right? Willpower runs out, but that why is so powerful that it gets you. I don't want to do it. I don't want to write. I hate writing. The why is that I need to do it to help to contribute. And then the more bigger the why is. So, for example, if you look at Nelson Mandela, his why was huge.
Mm.
He having his why so big. That's what allowed him to be peaceful and loving and come out of prison with a smile on his face and wanting to make a better impact.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. The thing that sometimes I wonder about is I've had a period in my life of extreme low, and I think it's because I didn't really know what my why was. Like I felt very lost and I
Mhm.
felt like I had no purpose, I had no point. So, what advice would you give someone who's in that position? Because you have a very clear why, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's necessarily a common thing.
So all I was saying in that situation is that how you felt in that place, there are other people going in this that are going through the same thing.
Mm.
So if I asked you if you could help just one person who was feeling how you were feeling at that time, how would it make you feel? And you'd say amazing,
Amazing. Yeah.
incredible, and it makes it worth it.
Yeah. So, that in itself is your why for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then obviously I had you on because we're coming up to International Men's Day. And one of the main things that keeps getting discussed around like men's issues is mental health. And like I've read that like out of all suicides in like 2017, like 75% of them were men. And
Yeah.
also men are less likely to get help when they're suffering with mental health issues. So how can we support the guys out there who are suffering with mental health issues? And how do you even acknowledge that a man in your life, or if you're a man yourself, that you are actually suffering with mental health issues?
So first things first, I'd say like there's a big stigma of men being strong, and a definition of being strong is you don't cry, you keep
Yeah.
things in. But in reality, that is a weakness
Mm.
because you're afraid of being judged and you're not being authentic to who you are.
Yeah.
So I'd say with men that are going through mental health issues, as scary as it sounds, as foreign as it is, speaking out, what you're doing is that humans are not supposed to keep things in. What goes in us must come out.
Hmm.
So it's like when you hold things in, it's like holding a ball underwater. You can hold it underwater for only for so long, but the more you push it down, the more pressure it builds. And then one day it's going to come back up. So
Yeah.
again, it's just influencing men to speak out and going back to the why, that how you're feeling right now. And maybe it's your ego that's not allowing you to open up and speak out. You have a fear. If you could help a young man not to take his life, maybe if you got children and it's your son, you'll be the rock, you'll be the reason for them to live on.
Mm.
But I believe in the times that we're living right now, I think a lot of men are speaking out now. I feel like it's changing.
Yeah, I think it's like starting to change now,
Yeah.
which is a good sign.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it's something that needs to be addressed from a young age, like you say, like kids to be raised in, in the sense that they can talk to you about anything. It's okay to talk to me. It's okay to cry.
I was gonna say being vulnerable is hard.
Yeah.
The power that you get in being vulnerable
Mm,
is that you show people that, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm going through. You take away the ammunition from any judgment, and then that in itself gives you power that you can stand and you can cry and you can open up and still be a
mm.
man in society's terms.
Yeah. I mean, and it's highly likely that someone else is feeling the way you're feeling anyway. Like you're not an alien and it's okay.
There's so many people. Like I find a lot of drunk men reach out to me,
No.
and then in the morning they'll wake up like, I'm so sorry about that. I was just drunk last night.
Yeah.
I feel like the alcohol sometimes for them it takes away their inhibitions and
Mm,
they can open up. But I think it's just maybe it's starting something on a surface level. So a lot of men are very keen on their appearance and performance. So if you can sell the idea of mental health and on those levels, so kind of like what they show them what they want, and then once they're in, you can give them what they need.
mm,
That makes sense.
hmm.
Like some men think they need to earn a certain amount of money to be able to provide, to be a man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So tell us about is it the Got This movement, or
Mhm.
because you've got I got this, you got this, we got this, right?
Yeah, so this is the mantra, this is the affirmation, but
Hmm.
overall, it's the got this movement.
Yeah.
So this journey started, I was 16 stone in March time.
Okay.
Last year, I lost my brother, who was 26 at the time,
Wow.
and that was my all-time low in my life.
Mm,
Took me to a place where I felt suicidal and I was self-sabotaging. I was eating as much as I could because I wanted to die, but I didn't like have the courage or guts to kill yourself by doing something else. I wanted to kind of just self-sabotage and just put
yeah.
on as much weight in just to that was the truth of it. And I felt lost,
Mm,
so completely lost that life took a whole new, it became meaningless almost. And I remember just asking God, like, why? Like, I've been through all of this in my life, and then this happens. I don't get it. I don't get it.
mm,
I remember sitting outside of my garden and I looked at myself and I thought, this is not me.
yeah.
So I said, I remember saying to myself, I got this. I got this. And I'm saying, God, like, I don't know the reason of why you took my brother, but I trust you. And I know there's a reason for this. And we don't know if it's better on the afterlife or, I just trust that some people come to this world for a short time and make a difference and impact. And my brother was one of those. And then in that moment, I was like, I'm going to live on for my brother.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started to journal that I got this. And it started by just losing weight. And I was doing intermittent fasting
Okay.
and I was exercising. And it was a complete contrast to like what I was doing at the time. I started exercising and I started to eat healthy. And then my mindset changed. And I was like, I'm going to start a campaign. And it started off by, I'm going to help 1,000 people in 90 days to better their lives.
Hmm.
Because of the pandemic and the lockdown, I know it's hit a lot of people with their mental health.
Yeah.
So I again journaled my story, and then people were like, Warren, you've inspired me, you've impacted me because I'm going through this at the moment. So I was like, okay, I'm going to measure the impact of people by t-shirts.
Okay.
If you are ready to make a commitment to yourself, a goal to better your life, whether it be in your relationships, business, or your mental health,
Yeah.
get yourself a t-shirt and commit yourself to a goal. And not only that, when you're wearing it, you're seeing it, and other people are seeing it. there's so much power in affirmation. So this campaign has grown from just people getting on board by buying a t-shirt and committing themselves to a goal, to now we've got activities such as the I Got This climb that we're going to be doing in Penavan in March. So we're going to be getting over 500 people to,
Wow.
to walk up, climb the Penavan mountains, and they've all got their own personal reasons on why they want to do it. Some people are raising charity, money for charity, and that mountain just symbolizes the challenges that are in their way.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, it's got me back to being creative, to create my online programs. So I know that, for example, with us doing podcasts, it's a great platform to share our value and knowledge.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people like us out there who don't have the courage to start a podcast or to be a speaker because they feel like they're not qualified enough, or they have that imposter syndrome.
Mm.
So I want to create programs and courses to help people on that step where they can become confident to become a speaker, start a podcast, start a blog.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So how do we get a t-shirt? Because I kind of want one for myself.
So
I feel left out.
You're going to be you're an ambassador.
Yeah.
I think you got a great message and platform. So to get a t-shirt, I would say currently we're getting our website built right now. So the branding's getting sorted and the website. Yeah. So if you message me on Facebook, we got this movement Facebook group. So it's just send me a message and then we can go from there. But in the next 2 weeks, we'll have the shop up and running and then people can get it.
That's amazing. And how do you help children as well? Because I've seen a lot of posts on your Instagram with you and like groups of children.
So kids love YouTube. They want to be YouTubers.
Yeah.
YouTubers are like today's rock stars, right? So, and I realized a lot of kids don't like school. So I was like, what is it that the teachers are not doing that the YouTubers are? And I feel like YouTubers, they communicate effectively to the kids. They speak their language. They're entertaining, even though they're a bit OTT, but they get the kids' attention. Like, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. It just, kids are like. So I was like, why don't I teach children life skills such as effective communication skills? So the shy kids in class, I know that in school I was shy because I wanted to fit in. I was aware of what people were thinking of me. I didn't want to stand up and speak out. I had a stutter and all of these things. So I thought, if I could teach children how to communicate effectively, if I can get Philippa, the shyest girl in the class, to stand up and own her stuff and speak out, then I'm on to a winner. So I created something called the YouTube Academy. And the YouTube Academy was a platform where I was going to schools and I did workshops outside of schools as well. And the marketing, the rapper just brought kids in. Do you want to be a YouTuber? That was the message. Kids are like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, action. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So then that helped me to sell them just on why they need to be more confident, and the life skills that I was teaching them, such as emotional intelligence, mindfulness, they were all lapping it up because they want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So I could bind their world into the education.
Yeah.
Teachers were like, Warren, oh my gosh, how are these kids meditating? How are they? How have you got their attention and their engagement? And I realized that communication isn't just verbal. A lot of teachers, I remember back when I was in school, I had a teacher, I wouldn't name her because she might listen to this, but she was very like, okay, class, today we're going to be doing algebra. And like, for me, you need to engage me. You need to be like, you were like, okay, today, guys, we're going to be doing algebra. Okay, Stacey, stand up, say X. So so I was like, yeah, how we communicate. So these children, because I working with kids that have autism, behavior issues. So when I'm coaching a class of 30, to keep them all engaged is kind of hard to learn. But through understanding if they were shy and how I would mirror their tonality and slowly get them out to being confident. So the ones that were like wanted all the attention, I would get them in front of the class to be able to use that energy in a positive way to teach the class, and I would reinforce good behavior. So that's how I created the YouTube Academy, and that's like I coached 10,000 kids in a year.
That's amazing.
COVID happened.
Gosh, COVID, how
Mm,
annoying. Yeah, but it sounds awesome what you're doing
thank you.
and really clever. I love the way you've done that with the youth tube thing.
Mm,
Um, well, I feel like we're running out of time already, but I finish all of my interviews with what I call top three.
okay.
So it's just three questions, which are top three based. So the first one is top 3 tips for anyone who's scared of public speaking.
Okay, so tip number one, you can't fail being you. What that means is that no matter how many mistakes you make, you just to be real with who you are, and then to be realistic that when you first start out doing anything, you're gonna be a bit crap. And it's okay.
Mhm.
You're in it for the long game.
Yeah.
So that's tip number one. You can't fail being yourself. So just do it anyways. Don't wait for the right moment. Tip number two is this: we can't focus on two areas at the same time.
Hmm.
So is your focus on you?
Hmm.
Because if your focus is on you, you're like, is my hair okay? Oh my gosh, are my lines? Am I going to make a mistake? Da, da, da. Or is the focus on the
Yeah.
audience? Like when the focus is on the audience, I can be a ballerina on stage. I can be like, la, 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 la. I don't care what people are thinking about me because I want to impact that
Mm.
life in the audience. So when the focus is away from yourself, you're not inside, you're out.
Mm.
So that's tip number two. And tip number three is have a strong emotional why on why you want to be a speaker.
Yeah.
So for example, for me, I didn't choose to be a speaker. It was something for me that I had to do. I didn't feel human if I didn't share what I know.
Mm.
And I have to pass on this knowledge because it saved my life.
Mm.
Another life, then I'm going to do it. So when you have
Yeah.
that why, you're prepared to make a fool of yourself. You're prepared to be laughed at. You're prepared for rejection. You're prepared to be heckled. You're prepared for anything because you know that if you're there to impact one life.
Mm.
So the why is important. So they're my 3 T's.
Okay. I don't know, this one might overlap, but I've got top 3 confidence boosting activities.
Okay. Number one is this. When I first started learning how to be more confident, I did things that absolutely scared me. So
Mm.
I remember a really posh restaurant in London, Mayfair, and people were sitting in there minding their own business with their families and just, oh, darling, darling, very posh. And I was going to go into this restaurant and I was going to start singing. And I'm no Michael Jackson. I haven't got a good voice.
Yeah.
I remember being terrified and before like Warren. I spent all my time getting all this street cred and respect. If I do this, this is going to take away all of it.
Mm.
And I remember going into this restaurant and singing, and the people were looking at me thinking, "What on earth?" Like looking at me, it's like, ugh, like despise. And I remember it felt like daggers into my heart, and I just
Yeah.
feeling like you're crazy and you're weird. But I did it, and then literally just sung, as random as it is, walked back out, and I was like, "Did I die? No, I'm still here." So, taking yourself outside of your comfort zone, doing something crazy, that was one thing. And then I went on to reality TV. I went on first dates.
Did you? Oh my God, how was that?
It was a cool experience. I did it as a branding sort of experience. I kind of
Okay.
used it for branding, but I wasn't generally going on there to find love.
Okay.
I went on there to share my story, to be honest, but also the confidence is that like I can share my stories to as many people as possible and not worry about what people think about my story. So yeah, just do things. That's number one. Do things outside of your comfort zone that scare you. Like that's against the norm. Number two is your personal dialogue with yourself. So affirmations, the whole I got this is where it stems from. I got this. You don't go, I got this. I got this. You embody the emotions. You see it in your mind. You feel it. How would you walk, talk, and feel once you know that you've got this? So the affirmations, I got this. Every day I'm doing things that take me outside of my comfort zone. I'm becoming more confident.
Mm-hmm.
So affirmations, your internal dialogue, that would be the second one. And then the third one is that you can't swim just by reading all the books.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get in the pool. So get
Yeah.
wet, get messy, and just have fun, because I believe on our last days in this world, it's just regret the things that we didn't do.
Yeah.
And I know people that are listening, your audience, they want to improve their lives. So I know that people are listening right now and they're going to take on board those.
Yeah. And then the last one is top 3 tips for anyone who feels like they might be suffering with depression but don't know where to get help.
Okay, so I would say go to YouTube, find someone who's going through depression, because there's a lot of people that journal their depression and what they're going through. Find someone that you can relate to and reach out to them or watch their videos and see the steps that they've taken. Because I believe that life is like a house with many windows. The window that you're looking out of, you're seeing a view, and you might see the car parking or the grey wall. But if you change the window that you're looking out of, you can see a much better view. So find someone who you can relate to, who you say, me too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe success leaves a trail, like that's strategies, and it's all to do with your mind. So therefore, find out what creates those good oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, all the good chemicals that you want. That's what I'd say.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome talking to you and finding out what you're doing. Lastly, just how can people connect with you following this podcast?
Okay, so for everyone who's watching and listening right now, go to your back garden in the corner and shout, see, I got this in the clouds. You could find me on Facebook and Instagram with the Got This movement. And obviously my personal name is Warren Inspire on Instagram as well. But yeah, I'm just behind the works, got the team creating the website right now, all the brandings. That's in the works. But I would love to, because a lot of people, sometimes they listen to podcasts or they watch podcasts and they get so much value from it, but they never reach out. They never make that step because they just want to be like, maybe, they just, no, they're afraid to. But I challenge anyone who's listening to this right now, take action to bettering your life. Just step out, reach, do something that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, go message Warren.
Or Martha.
Yeah, I agree, because I see that sometimes I get my followers following my guests like after the podcast, but then I don't know if anything happens after that, so it'll be good to know. Yeah,
It's just that whole, a lot of people are afraid of, because there's some people that like, Warren, you've inspired me so much, and I'm like, you've been on my Facebook for 5 years, I didn't even know that you read my statuses or watch my videos.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to seeing how this Got This movement progresses. It's exciting.
So much. Thank you for having me on. And I just want to say, obviously, I stumbled across your podcast on Instagram and it stood out. And the guests that you've had on it so far, and the way that you make people feel welcomed on your show as well was amazing. And I know it's going to even grow to new heights. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications on new episodes every Wednesday.